So this is Cynthia Payne-Meyer. She's a sixth grade teacher at Westminster School in Westminster, Vermont. And her kids have been doing Jumpstart for the second half of this school year, 2014. So Cynthia, just give us a little background. How do your kids react or respond to Jumpstart?
Oh, they're very enthusiastic about it. So when they know that we are having Jumpstart, they will volunteer to go and get the apparatus that we use. So we'll have two kids running down to get the balls, and somebody else setting up the posters, and somebody else putting down um, those round discs, and they get it all ready to go.
Mm, so,
So
so for the most part, the kids set it up for you.
they're sixth graders. They do set it up independently.
Hmm. Okay. What do you think see as the most valuable or most important thing about Jumpstart for your kids?
I would say the repeated practice of basic fluency and reinforcing some basic skills for sixth grade math, but also the physical exercise with that. So in sixth grade, we're practicing things like decimal percent conversion, and we're practicing reducing fractions, we're practicing equivalent fractions, and then we're practicing reinforcement of composite numbers, prime numbers, square numbers, and then we're practicing multiplication, division, squaring. We're just practicing that fluency in these different stations. But because they're physically active, they are more enthusiastic about it, they're more engaged, having fun, and then we have this understanding that as soon as we come back into the classroom to have our regular math class, that they need to reset immediately. And they do. So we just find it energizes the brain and sets up math class beautifully.
One of the things that I noticed your class doing is they took that number array, those round spots you were talking about,
Hmm.
or the number array, and they made a version of Twister
They
out
did.
of that.
Oh, yeah.
And can you tell me anything about that and how that works a little bit for your
Sure.
kids?
Well, they will have one of the students will become the caller, and they'll say something like, put your left hand on a prime number, put your right hand on a square number, or an even or an odd or whatever kind of number it is that they choose. And they just think that's all kinds of fun because then it gets really silly because they get twisted around each other and they enjoy the camaraderie of it, but at the same time it causes them to keep asking themselves, oh yeah, what's a square number? Where would I find that here? So it's a fun way to reinforce skills.
In observing your Jumpstart sessions, one of the things that, sort of a goal of Jumpstart in general, but one of the things I notice is that kids really try to respond quickly and have those math facts readily available.
Absolutely. So with the fly swatter game, you want to be the first one to swat the number before your opponent does. But I've noticed that they're really quite friendly about it, and they've gotten more easygoing as time has gone on, that they lightly tap it instead of whacking it. And another thing where they want the numbers to come quickly is we have one station that we've created where we play around the world. So you pair off, and they want to keep advancing. They want to go all the way around the world. So that causes them to respond really quickly.
Uh, I interviewed one of your students, and they said that she felt like her classmates were supporting her, like they were sort of in it together, and it made it a more positive experience for her. Have you noticed anything like that
I
going
have
on?
noticed that. And some of that was just student initiated. So, for instance, when I was on the fly swatter station one day, I heard somebody giving somebody else some tips on how to find an equivalent fraction. And I thought, how cool that they're giving each other a little mini lesson along the way.
Another thing I enjoyed about watching your stations and is that we encourage kids to make up their own variations, and they really sort of created this Twister game. Did you find that going on in the other stations?
Oh, for sure.
Uh huh.
they have made their own versions of each of those stations, and then I'll be at one station for several rounds, and then I'll be surprised when I come and see what they're doing at a new station. It's all good. They mix it up a little bit, and I guess that keeps it more interesting for them.
So again, what do you see as the most valuable parts of Jumpstart for your kids?
The repeated practice of fluency so that some of their math facts are just ready. And the fact that they get their bodies moving means that they're more engaged for the beginning of math class, that they've got the brain and the body connected and they're ready to go.
So when they come into from Jumpstart to your regular math class, you find them more focused and just kind of their math brain has been awakened,
Absolutely.
so to speak.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks for your time, and I certainly enjoyed working with you and your kids. You got a great program going on here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Cynthia.